Hello, welcome to the show. Today I'm going to be cooking chicken saltimbocca. It's one of my all-time favorite dishes and I think you're going to love it. Saltimbocca is a traditional Italian dish. It's saltimbocca alla romana, so a Roman version of that. And they usually do it with veal and they roll it up and cook it like that with sage and butter. Today we're going to do a version where it's flat and we're going to use chicken instead of veal. So what we're going to need is some free-range organic chicken breast, some Italian prosciutto, some unsalted butter, some fresh sage, a lemon, some garlic, some all-purpose flour. We're also going to need a small glass of white wine, and then we're going to serve the saltimbocca with some roast potatoes which are roasted in olive oil and rosemary here. First of all, I'm just going to cut up some potatoes and we're just going to roast those. So here I've got a Kestrel potato, and I think if you're in the States you could use a Yukon Gold. If you're in the UK, Maris Piper would be perfect for this, something that's floury. So we're just going to cut these up into a small dice. And we'll just throw some olive oil on those. I'm just going to take some rosemary and pull those off. Okay, and then just chop those up nice and finely. So that just goes in there. In there like that. And then we'll just pop some salt on that. Some freshly ground pepper, and why not crush a few garlic cloves, just smash them up, leave the skins on, throw those in there too, give that a shake around, and we'll just pop those in the oven on 180 for about 30 minutes whilst we're getting everything else prepped. So first up, let's take our chicken breasts here. So what I'm doing is just going to butterfly this chicken breast and create an even surface area so it all cooks evenly. And then once we've kind of opened that up, we'll just pop some cling film over the top. I've got a rolling pin or something heavy. There we go. We've got a nice big cutlet here. And what I'm going to do, because this is quite a large one, I'm just going to cut it down. And we can make two out of that. Okay, so we've got our Parma ham. And we'll just set that down on top. And what this is going to do is keep the chicken breast, it's going to keep the moisture in that chicken breast and stop it drying out, a bit like skin. But it's also going to impart that nice flavour. And then what we're going to need is some sage leaves. So we'll take our sage leaves here and we'll pop them on top. Just pick some nice large ones. And then what I also like to do is just take some of the rind from the lemon, and we'll use that too, because this cooks really nicely when it's fried in the pan with the oils. So we'll just use a potato peeler just to take a few slices of that off. We're going to take a cocktail stick and we're just going to secure that on there. Like so. And then I just like to, on one of them, just pop some of that lemon zest on there, some of that lemon rind, and that is just going to cook with it and give it a great flavour too. So what the flour is for is to just dust along the bottom of the cutlet, and that's going to do two things. It's going to help the bottom of the chicken. It's going to protect it, and it's also going to help it crisp up, and then it's also going to form a kind of roux. It's going to thicken the sauce eventually in the pan because it's going to mix with all that fat, and then it's going to create a nice give a bit of body to the sauce that we make, and you'll see. So just put a bit of flour on there. Okay, so these are ready for cooking, so we'll go over, bring the pan up to temperature, and we'll get on with this. So we're just going to put this on medium to high heat, and we'll just let our pan get up to temperature. We'll go in to start with a bit of olive oil. Okay, so we're just going to get a nice sear on that. Go down with the Parma ham side first. So we're getting all that oil mixed with that sage and butter. We're just going to give that a couple of minutes on that side to colour. We're just going to crush some garlic to go in the pan. So we'll just throw that in. And we're going to take a knob of butter as well. Okay. Along with our butter, we're just going to bring the temperature down a little bit. So that butter doesn't burn. We can just season the underside of that up quickly. Some salt and pepper. Just pour it over the sage so that sage releases all of its aromas into the oil. That probably needs a couple of minutes more. Then at this point we can just throw some white wine in. And that wine is just going to mix with that flour and thicken the sauce. And then we'll just finish that off with a squeeze of lemon. So we'll just take out our chicken. And put that aside to rest. And we'll just leave this sauce to reduce slightly. You can see how that's starting to thicken up with that flour and that butter creating a kind of roux. Okay, so that's the kind of thickness we want. Got our roast potatoes. So we've got that lovely gravy. And then we'll just serve that piece of lemon. So there we have it, that's our chicken saltimbocca with butter and sage and our lovely rosemary roasted potatoes. Alright, so let's dive in. See, that chicken is beautifully moist. Let's just hit that with a bit of lemon juice. That's knockout. Guys, please try this and let me know what you think. Now with this beautiful Italian saltimbocca, I've paired it with a nice Pinot Grigio. And I've chosen this because it's more on the citrus side, so it cuts through that butter. It cuts through that richness of the butter. The French also have Pinot Grigio, but they call it Pinot Gris, and that's from mainly, they grow that down in the Alsace region, and the characteristics of those ones are a lot more richer and more like a Sauvignon Blanc, whereas the Italian ones tend to be more of a citrus flavour and be a bit more lighter on the palate. And that rich butteriness of the chicken and the lemon, just this wine complements it perfect. So great wine and a great classic dish, so enjoy. Salut.